They seem totally unconcerned about the growth of a domestic terror movement right here in this country. On Sunday, terrorist Willem van Spronsen attacked a federal ICE facility. He showed up with an AR-15 rifle and tried to blow up a propane tank. Van Spronsen was killed by police before he could murder anyone, but he certainly tried. Van Spronsen was a terrorist. Mercifully, he was an incompetent terrorist. We might not be so lucky the next time. The next Antifa terrorist to attack a federal facility might murder an agent, or 5, or 10. And if that happens, it's not an exaggeration to say CNN, the cable news network, will have blood on its hands. Again, we don't say that lightly. But for years, Antifa has been growing in strength and ambition, and every step of the way, CNN has cheered them on.
It says it right in the name, Antifa, anti-fascism, which is what they were there fighting. Listen, there's, no organization is perfect. There was some violence. No one condones the violence, but there were different reasons for Antifa and for these neo-Nazis to be there. One, racist fascists. The other group fighting racist fascists. There's a distinction there.
What brought Antifa did not go there to fight against hate.
Not long before his attack, CNN gave aid and comfort to Willem van Spronsen. On May 5th of this year, a CNN host called Camu Bell profiled Antifa members in Seattle. It wasn't a balanced, informative look at what they were doing. No, it was a full-blown propaganda piece. It was a celebration of Antifa and a celebration of their commitment to violence. We're not exaggerating. Look at it yourself. On camera, Bell caresses their weapons, talks about how much he likes their weapons, describes them as heroes. And then after the show aired, Bell asked CNN's viewers to send money to the terror group.
Oh. I love that these are...
I know. I like that. They're
Can I put it on time on? I want to ask you. Want to ask? Wow. And this is a...
I usually have a couple of those on me just in case.
Just in case.
I use it for whatever I need to use it for.
Point taken.
So just in case you think we're being unfair, and believe it or not, we try not to be unfair on this show, but just in case you think we are, and are drawing a connection that's invalid, the Tacoma terrorist himself, Willem van Spronsen, appeared in Bell's episode. This ran on CNN. Here are the screenshots to prove it. So let's be clear. Antifa is a terror organization. They use violence for political ends. They don't hide that. They brag about it. Since Van Spronsen's terror attack over the weekend, Antifa has celebrated him as a martyr. This is the group that CNN called heroes. Has this weekend's terror attack changed their mind over at CNN? Well, today we contacted Camu Bell to find out. We asked him if he regretted promoting Antifa. He did not reply to us. So then we contacted a CNN spokeswoman to see if the channel stands by Bell's Antifa documentary and to see if CNN plans to air it again, complete with a picture of the dead terrorist. CNN didn't respond to that request. So then we called the network's parent company, AT&T, and asked those questions. Will this air again on CNN? As of tonight, AT&T has not gotten back to us, nor has Jeff Zucker, who runs CNN. We're going to keep trying to get an answer to that question. We think it's important. A domestic terrorist tried to murder federal agents. CNN egged him on beforehand. Now they're pretending like nothing ever happened. And it's not just them, by the way. It's the attitude of the entire left. Not a single Democratic presidential candidate has condemned Van Spronsen as of tonight. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Omar initially ignored questions about it, as if condemning a terror attack requires careful thought. And those are the good reactions, actually. Some journalists have been praising Van Spronsen, the dead terrorist, outright. This is insanity, and it leads in only one direction. Political violence isn't like other crime. It's far worse than that. It destroys countries. America is fortunate that unlike, for example, Somalia, or just about every country in Latin America, we've gone many generations without serious political violence in this country. Thanks to the left, that appears to be changing. Gabriel Nadales is a field coordinator for the Leadership Institute, but before that, he was a member of Antifa. We're happy to have him on tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. So as you see CNN, and I want to be fair, it's not simply CNN. I think they've been the most kind of egregious about it, but there are many on the left who are encouraging Antifa, making excuses for it, its behavior. Having been inside the organization, what's your reaction to that?
You know, it's ridiculous, and it's telling that the CNN journalist, he's laughing. This is not a laughing matter. People are dying, people are being attacked because of Antifa. We need to be able to hold Antifa accountable.
So when you hear Bell or a couple of the primetime anchors over on CNN suggest that Antifa is really not a threat, that they're the good guys, they're the white hats going after the Nazis.
No, this is a
You were in Antifa. Is that accurate?
Yeah, well, I was in Antifa when I was just 16, so like almost 10 years ago. And I'm telling you this, back then it was just a group that went out and go protest against what people we thought were anti-fascist. However, Antifa is far more violent today than it ever was. There's multiple professors. To really understand Antifa, we have to go into the college campuses. Throughout the country, we have a lot of different professors who are advocating for violence. We have Mark Bray from Dartmouth University, who wrote Antifa, the Anti-Fascist Handbook, where he praises and he advocates for political violence. And then most recently at the Leadership Institute Campus Reform, we had a professor from Colorado State University who said that she was done talking to people on her opposition, that she was ready to punch them in the neck. And unfortunately, we are seeing a resurgence of political violence by the left.
So you believe that Antifa is being incubated on college campuses, every one of them federally subsidized, by the way, by professors?
I think so. I think that that's where they're getting a lot of their philosophy from. And I'm actually really excited to start a college tour where I'm going to be talking to college students throughout the country about my story and why I joined Antifa. And I know you mentioned about how CNN is basically inoculating Antifa, but it goes far beyond that. We also have to look at where their sentiment comes from. I'm Mexican, and I grew up watching Telemundo and Univision, and I can tell you that they are far worse than CNN. They like to teach their audiences that that President Trump is the worst person in the world, and a lot of people in Antifa are taking a lot of ideas from these networks.
I'm not surprised at all. Gabriel, thank you very much for that report. I appreciate it. Well, federal agents working to secure our borders are not the only ones in danger from an increasingly extreme